When the world needed him most, he vanished. He went into his room, did his 5 prayers to the Mecca every day, did his mashallah, alhamdulillah, and went into his endless deep meditation to prepare for his next banger. Now, when the OC community finally needed their savior to come to them and save them from all of their improvement roadblocks, he finally came back. Catfucker92. He's out here dropping a banger. He dropped I Tell Yo How to Improve at OSU number 2, bro. Oh my god, let's fucking go, dude. Oh, dude, I was out here taking a shit on the toilet and I was basically scrolling through Reddit. I was bored as fuck. I was like, yeah, cool play. Oh, another Epitaph SE. And then I saw, wait, Catfucker92 made another post. Oh my god, dude, I gotta go to the OBS studio and talk right now about this shit. So in this video, I kind of just want to give my commentary on I Tell Yo How to Improve at OC2, but for noobs. So Catfucker92 made another post beforehand a day ago where he basically made a full-ass thorough improvement Bible guide on how to improve at OSU, whether you were a noob or whether you were experienced. It was more for the experienced players. He basically told you how to improve at every aspect of OSU, and it is just the ultimate Bible, the ultimate guide to get better OSU. If you guys haven't read it, you guys should read it. I'm gonna send a link in the below, or you can just go watch my video where I covered it. But he was basically talking about how to get better at OSU, but I guess he saw that there was a need that he did not address the noobs out here who do not know what the fuck to do. Like, they're out here playing Big Black 500 times in a row. They're out here playing Skibbity Toilet Gamma for like 1,000 maps in a row, and they're like, what the fuck do I do? But I'm not improving. I've been playing for 10 hours now and I'm still at 0 PP. So Catfucker92 has dropped the ultimate banger, the ultimate guide on how to get better at OSU if you're a noob, and I kind of just want to give it my commentary on this. So let's just get straight into it. For noob, I tell yo how improve at OSU 2. I'm Abdullah. I tell you again for noob this time. Tablet, mouse, keyboard, not matter. Ignore, don't care. Not matter as long, no pain. Tablet may be slight advantageous, but still become top player Dell Wire Mouse 2001. So what he's saying in this paragraph right here is that it doesn't really matter what your setup is, like your equipment, if you're trying to play OSU. Like, if you just started playing OSU and you're out here playing the 2 stars and shit, it doesn't matter whether you're equipped with a 144 hertz monitor and a Wooting keyboard and a CTL 472 compared to if you were out here playing with a 5 and below mouse and a keyboard you got from the McDonald's kids meal. It doesn't really matter what type of setup you're playing if you're playing at first, because all the setup really does for you is it increases how good you can get at the game, because eventually at a point your McDonald's keyboard you got from the kids meal is not going to suffice if you're going to be out here trying to play Blue Zenith 200 BPM 128 notes in a row. You're going to be trying to tap that shit and you're like, what the fuck, this shit's not even working anymore. I can't even tap anymore on my McDonald's keyboard, but I gotta go to Burger King get my new keyboard. But basically he's just saying it doesn't really matter what setup you have, like just use what you have, and you don't have to go out of your way and spend like $200 to upgrade your OC performance at first, because you're not even going to have that much of a performance boost at first. You kind of have to get to that point where your improvement's kind of stagnating and it's because of your equipment, not because of your actual skill. And that's probably when you should upgrade your equipment instead of just trying to buy all the new equipment when you first start playing. So let's just get back to the next thing. Skin don't matter. Ignore, don't care. HVic and Cookie Z use dog shit putrid skin from Dark Age still, shit on all. What he's saying in this paragraph is, it doesn't matter what type of skin you're using at first when you're playing OSU. Honestly, I feel like it does. Like, I kind of disagree here. Like, if you're out here playing the shit ass default skin, then, I mean, if you can play with that, all the power to you. But personally, me, I have a lot of troubles when I'm trying to use that default skin, because I always confuse the ending and the beginning of the slider ends when I'm playing the default skin. But honestly, just use like any skin. Like, again, it doesn't really matter here. You can either be using the Rafi skin, the Doki Doki Lol X skin, or the Cookie Z skin, or whatever the fuck skin you want to use, right? It doesn't really matter. It's preference at the end of the day, like what your skin is. But honestly, I feel like the most minimum you should do skin wise for OSU, just download any skin. Just download any skin that's like slightly readable, like it's pretty simple to use and doesn't make your reading all fucked up. As long as you use that, then you're all good. And moving on, biggest important OSU is if can do slow and accurate. Gradual can do faster, work for all, finger controlling, stream, aim. So he's basically saying in this point where the important thing in OSU, you have to start slow and accurate. So what he's saying here, you got to start at the lower BPM, start at the more accurate BPMs. Like, you don't want to jump immediately into 200 BPM, start playing Blue Zenith and shit, because your fingers are not going to be able to play that fast and you're not going to be able to hack it. So you got to go to the really small basics, start at like 120 BPM or so, and try to get a very good accuracy, try to get like an SS on these maps. And eventually you can do better as you progressively overload your BPM and get better at the game. So that's what he's saying right here. You got to focus on the fundamentals as well. Finger control, streams, aim. That's really all you got to focus on, and you're just going to gradually get better. And the next thing he says is, every noob asked me, how do I accuracy? As long as not rhythmless donkey accuracy, come natural. For impatient pupil, Play long map easy, but change to OD10. Make sure our finger relax natural. So what he's basically saying here, I know that was quite an info dump on some of you guys where you kind of are still processing that information, but he's out here saying, some people ask me, how do I improve my accuracy? How do I get my unstable rate down? Like, how do I get these SSs? Like, I'm out here getting like 80% axe and shit. I'm shitting to bed every map I play. And his answer here is, you can't force this shit. This is something that comes natural. You have to play more of the game. You got to play a lot of maps, and it's a slow burn to get your accuracy up. And he really says that the best way for you to get your accuracy up, if you're just really impatient and just really want to focus on that accuracy, you got to play those really long and easy maps, so like 5-minute consistency maps, because these maps are going to be pretty easy to act compared to if it was like a 90-second map but with the same star rating. And then eventually you can change your OD to 10, so basically put on hard rock, and that would basically make it so that you would have to have a much more consistent rhythm while you're tapping. So these are how you get better in act. And he also says to make sure your fingers are relaxed and natural. You don't want to be forcing that shit, like mashing all over the place. You got to keep it natural and just tap to the beat, just enjoy the game. And that's really what he's saying right here. And the next thing he says here, don't worry, skill set not matter as much as NPC yap. Can change profession quick, fast, mostly mental block. Example, Ryuk Origin. So I don't really know who Ryuk or Origin are, but what he's basically saying here is that the skill set in the beginning doesn't really matter as much because it kind of just changes pretty quickly. Like, I think what he's trying to say here, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he's basically saying that the 2 stars and 3 stars, there's not really much of a difference, like in terms of deviation of like a 2-star and a 3-star. Like, you can't really say like this is an alt map 3-star, this is a jump map 3-star, this is a stream map 3-star, because these maps are so piss low that like there's no deviation. They're pretty much all the same thing. But as you gradually get better and you're starting to get to the 5 and 6 stars, you're gonna be like, okay, now some of these maps are a bit different. This one's obviously a stream map, this one's obviously an A map, this one's obviously a reading map, this one's obviously a tech and alt. And he's basically saying, doesn't really matter what the skill sets are at first. Like, just keep playing the game and just don't really focus on a specific skill set. Like, just play your variety, and you can easily change the skill sets as you go, but eventually it's going to diversify as you get better. And then next he says, hidden hard rock virgin. Change to speed Chad before routine. So I don't really know what he's trying to say here. Like, I guess what he's trying to say here is that if you're just trying to get into your comfort zone and playing hidden hard rock on everything. So if you're trying to play hard rock on maps that you would usually play very well at, but you're not really pushing skill cap onto higher star ratings, then it doesn't really make much of a difference for you. But what he's also trying to recommend here is that if you're trying to play speed, you want to get into it before playing routine, because as he said from the last post, when you play routine, it will do fucking to your finger. So what he's trying to say right here is that if you go to the routine, you have to be prepared to never go back, because once you go to routine, the equipment for it just makes speed so easy that if you try to go back to your old keyboard, you're just gonna fuck it all up. Like, that's what happened to me. I tried going back to my old keyboard, like this Corsair one that I got right here, and I was basically fucking up all the streams. I couldn't even tap like 180 BPM, and I was like, damn, this shit sucks ass. But I went back to my routine, and I was like, okay, this is pretty fire. And the next thing he says is, also, don't worry modification if noob. Don't game to be harder, not necessary. So what he's saying here, don't worry about the mods at first. Just keep playing the maps on no mod. You can worry about the modifications later. So basically like hidden, DT, hard rock, like all of these things are more for the advanced people who play OSU. Like, if you're out here trying to play every map at first in the beginning with DT and hard rock, like you're trying to switch it up, you're gonna be like, dude, this is so fucking hard. I'm just trying to get used to the fundamentals of actually clicking the circles on the screen. Now the map is like 2 times faster. Oh, now the freaking circles are much smaller. Like, he's basically saying don't overcomplicate things. You just want to stick to the really small fundamentals. You really want to focus on, okay, this is how I can click on this circle, this is how I can click on this one, I gotta aim on that one, I gotta tap it this time. Like, he's just saying don't overcomplicate it. You don't want to overwhelm yourself all these modifications at first, and just keep it no mod at first, and then you can eventually conform into the modifications. I would personally say you could do that around 4 stars or 5 stars. You start playing some other mods, but that's pretty much what I think. And then the next thing he says is, brother Abdullah, why not give me specific number for teachings? I refrain. Number are arbitrary, also don't wanting harassment. Different for all. I had to think for a bit about this paragraph right here, what he's trying to say, because I know he's doing his best to communicate as clearly as possible in order to get his message across right here. But even this message was a bit complex for me to understand. I know my IQ is quite low compared to Catfucker 92. Obviously, Catfucker 92, that 92 probably represents the percentile of his IQ within the average population. So his IQ is probably better than like 92% of people. My IQ's out here probably not being as that high. So I'm trying to like really understand what he's trying to say here, but what I think what he's trying to say is that some people are probably asking him, why are you not giving numbers for these teachings? Like, you know how the 10 commandments in the Bible, they're gonna be like, okay, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, basically, etc. And it's kind of given an order of like lowest priority to the highest priority, or actually highest priority to the lowest priority. And I think what he's trying to say here is that if he numbered all of these teachings, then people might get the wrong idea and say that, oh, so you're saying this tip is more important than the other one. Oh, okay, so I should focus on this one. No, he's probably saying right here is that he doesn't want that confusion. All of these tips are different from each other. You can't really compare them to each other. There's no such thing as a priority or the order of how much better this tip is compared to other ones. So he's trying to basically say that. I think that's what he's trying to say. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I know he's out here trying to portray these really complex ideas onto us, but I think that's what he's trying to say here. And then the next thing he says is, what about set goal? Double-edged knife. Reach goal, motivate. Fail reaching goal, very demotivate. Also depend on person, some. So what he's saying here is, some people are probably asking him, what about setting goals? Like, I should be setting goals like, I want to get to 4-digit by the end of this year, or perhaps I want to get to like 5-digit, whatever the fuck is your goal, right? And he's basically saying here is that it's pretty hit or miss if your goals are going to actually benefit you or not, because it really depends on you. It depends on the person as well, where if you reach the goal, then it'll feel great, right? It's great. It's going to motivate you to compete, keep playing. But if you set a really unrealistic goal into yourself and you're like, you just started playing the game, but you want to reach like 2-digit by the end of like the month, then obviously if you fail to reach that goal, which is most likely to happen, because if you just started playing the game, and unless you're like Emrek's like third son and he has the prodigy skill and growth rate of like Evox and Emrek like exponentialized onto each other, unless you're that type of person and can get to like 2-digit within a month of playing and starting the game, then go ahead. But for the average person, that's not very feasible. And he's saying here that if you don't reach that goal that you set for yourself, then it's going to be very demotivating. You're going to stop playing because you're going to be like, yeah, what's the point? Like, I didn't even reach my goal. There's no point in this. So what he's basically trying to say here is that it depends on you at the end of the day. Like, you got to set a pretty realistic goal as well. Like, you got to get to that goal and motivate yourself. If you don't hit that goal, it's going to obviously be demotivating. So that's basically what he's trying to say here. And just like a final phrase of that quote, but some are grinders, some better focus present. So what he's saying here is, again, it depends on you, the type of person to make a goal. If you're a grinder out here trying to get to that 3-digit by the end of the year and you just started playing and you're going to grind that shit, like play 26 hours a day, then go ahead. That goal is pretty feasible for you. But some people, they should just focus on them, just focus on what's going on right now instead of focusing on a goal in the far future. So that's what he's saying right here. And then the final message that Catfucker92 gave here, he says, my aim are good, just need improving tapping. No. So that statement right there was written beautifully. They should honestly frame that and put it right next to the Mona Lisa in every art museum. I just think that was probably one of the greatest sentences in English of all time. But what he's basically trying to say here, I'm sure you guys already understand because of how great this message and the communication was. But he's basically referencing the people, his disciples, who ask Abdullah, my aim is pretty good, but my tapping's pretty shit. Like, I just gotta like work on my tapping, you know? I'm playing relax on like these 10 stars, but like, I just gotta work on my tapping. Like, once I start learning how to def stream 200 BPM, like I'll get like 2000 PPs like easily, man. And they're out here with like a 200 top play and they're out here playing relax on like Glory Days DT. And his response to that is no, because he's kind of just trying to say, yeah, don't even fucking bother. That's really stupid. Like, the general consensus for relax players in Osu is that if you're just playing relax all the time, you're not really going to get better in the game. I mean, maybe it does work for some people, like Evoxa and like, it's either Evoxa or Cloud4. I don't know who it is, but these guys are relaxed. One of them is a relax player, and people like kind of shitted on them. They're like, yeah, he's just a relax player. He's not going to get good. But then he actually did get good. So he's like an exception here. But for most people, relax, it's just something where like, yeah, maybe you can actually aim it, but the tapping is also really important. If you can't even tap it, then like, what's the point of playing relax? I think what he's saying here is that like, just play the game. Like, don't be out here playing relax all the time. You're not going to actually get better at the map. If you just play relax, you're not going to be working on your tapping fundamentals. And that's pretty much the end of this guide for beginners, the ultimate guide for beginners by Abdullah, by Catfucker92. And I just really wanted to make a video about this because I saw it was just out there and I just had to dash over here with water still dribbling down onto the floor. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. And also shout out to Stu, because apparently he made a video on the first one as well. And that was pretty cool. Like, some people were telling me that, and I was also referencing that. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Stu, and I'll see y'all.